Hey, if you're new here, I make mind reframing content, so welcome. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the metaphysical vision board. So this is in connection with that video that I made, but specifically I wanted to touch on exerting your will on the mental plane. This is useful for anybody that wants to take charge of their personal reality and wants to be able to manipulate it at will. In regards to my metaphysical vision board creation to manifesting your desires, I briefly touched on the first exercise, which requires you to establish you now, or the you that you want to leave behind, and future you, or the one that you want to strive for. I wanted to clarify why it's important to establish you now. In order to manipulate your reality and do conscious work on your being and everything around you, you first have to become very clear on what it is that it is now, what your reality is right now, and every single aspect about yourself. If you're clear on this, then it will be easier for you to work on things. As you will come to see, the more you do the work, hidden aspects of yourself will come to light. And this is precisely why you have to take inventory of what you know right now. It's a way of organizing things. The reason for this is that we operate in different levels of consciousness. You usually tend to consciously operate in this physical reality where you utilize your body as your vehicle. Now, when you go to sleep, your consciousness retracts. It is likely that you have heard this before. You are more than your physical body. What are you, if not just flesh? Perhaps you are a soul, but most of all, you are consciousness. And this consciousness exists in different planes. I've referred in the past to the mental plane, although there are many other layers, and some between this and that plane. What you need to know is that in order to consciously influence your reality, the one that you get to experience in your physical body, the work that you need to do is in the mental plane. This is why you need to become very conscious of the unconscious, because you operate in ways that your conscious mind may not always be conscious of. This is because when you are awake, you are operating in relation to a physical reality. In this reality, we also enjoy input of data. Now, when you retract your consciousness onto other planes, that is where you can create. In this physical reality, you are able to enjoy and experience things with all your senses. That is not something that you can do on the higher planes. Although there is no above or below, we would call them higher planes. And that is because the physical reality is the most dense one. So, in order to rearrange the things, the contents of your being and the reality around you, which is done on the mental plane, you have to take stock of what that is in this physical reality in your awake state. Particularly for the exercise that I speak about in the creation of your manifestation board, you're taking stock of yourself, of your being, of the characteristics and qualities that you want to change about yourself. Because these are the reason, this is the software that creates the current reality that you exist in. So, the best way to create change in your life is to become accustomed with retaining your consciousness on the mental plane. Now, you may very well know what it is like when you go to sleep and you fall asleep and you lose hold of your consciousness. When you are asleep and you are dreaming, which by the way, when you are on that plane, although here there are other levels before the mental plane which pertain to the dream state, but when your consciousness exists in that time, which is where your body disengages from your mental, from your consciousness, and this is done because your body needs to not only rest and recharge just like a robot would, but also to protect you from enacting what your consciousness is projecting. This is why when you have dreams, it's very often that you accept what happens in the dream as real. Perhaps things that happen in your dreams, if you were to see them in real life, you would either be shocked or really question, how is this possible? You don't do that when you're dreaming. Only when you wake up, you think how strange that was, because you compare it to this reality and the laws that govern what can be possible and what is not possible. So in your dream state, when you don't have full control of your consciousness, is where you assume the things that you're seeing are possible. Okay? Because they are. And that is some magic. Because if you're able to train yourself to enter the states where you retain your consciousness whilst your body is disengaged from your consciousness, meaning you enter a meditative state, then you are able to generate changes and play around in life's playground that it is, where you can shape, create, and give life to things with astral matter. So, why did I create this video of a metaphysical vision board? Because to create anything in this physical reality, this is what is necessary. Of course, some people have the ability, by simply assuming what they desire, what they give emotion, will manifest because they believe. And this is what is so magic about magic. You have to believe for it to be real. Some people find this easier than others. Why it's important to follow a vision board in the way that I've explained in the video, and in the way that I've developed for you to do with a visualization menu. Because we're not used to working on the mental plane with our consciousness. When we become unconscious, we lose control. Therefore, it's harder to act with will in that plane. But if you follow this routine strictly, then things will begin to take shape. Now, why is it easier for some people to manifest certain things than for others? Now, what really is manifestation? Manifestation is having the will to create something and having it in your sphere of availability, meaning appearing in your reality for you to enjoy with your senses. You are here in this plane to experience things, so why not give yourself the world? Now, why is it easier for some than others? Well, perhaps they don't have many restrictions or constrictions around what they want. They don't have restrictions around what's possible. Remember how when in your dream you see something bizarre, like you have 6 fingers and you think that's totally normal, until you don't. And perhaps that's when you become conscious in your dream, because you notice something tells your brain, wait a minute, this does not make sense, and then you become conscious in your dream. Have you ever done that? Well, this is the reason why you have to take stock of what are your limiting beliefs. What things do you believe about yourself, about your identity, about your being that do not correlate with the things that you want in this reality? That will be the blockage that you would have between the mental plane and the physical plane. In this way, if you determine this, you're going to be able to work on it on a conscious manner. Isn't that exciting? Now, some people don't have those many barriers around the things that they want. But everyone's different, and we all have barriers around things that we may want. That's normal. You're able to change that, and that's also the exciting thing. So as I said, why does the visualization menu work? Because you're describing in detail the thing that you will be working on the mental plane. It'll be easier for you to be detailed about what you want. And this is why vision boards work, because what you're effectively doing is you are choosing a snapshot of something that you want, a vision that you can keep in sight to act on this physical reality in ways that are in accordance with what you want, that will ultimately make it come true. And that's also why it doesn't suffice to just pick images, make a vision board, and forget about it. This is what makes the difference. Some people are better at committing to themselves, not only to themselves, but their goals and their ideas, but other people aren't, and it's not their fault. If we were all taught this in school, perhaps things will be different. Imagine what would happen if people would put their minds together to manifest things that would benefit the whole, right? Although this video is not about that, it is also the way that things work. I want to revisit something that I've mentioned, which is how in this physical reality we experience things with our senses. This is the plane in which we can bring forth things from the mental plane, but it's also the same plane in which we are here to enjoy ours and others' creations. Okay? And these creations also influence what goes back up on the mental plane. It can influence like a loop. For example, if you consume content about certain things and certain perceptions, then what you bring back to the mental plane, and therefore you will bring back to the physical plane, would have that tonality, that element. And this is also a reason why it is important to become conscious of yourself, of your thoughts, of your habits. It works one with the other, right? It's a top-down and a bottom-up situation. I probably would like to make a video about social media and how social media affects everything that I am talking about. But imagine if I teach you here on this channel how your energy, your attention, and your focus are your currency in this life. What do you think about the power that media holds into the creation of a whole on a larger scale, on a collective manifestation of things? This is why you have to exercise critical thinking and question things just the way that you would in a dream. See, when we are asleep, we are somewhat awake. But when we're awake, we're also somewhat asleep. If you're watching this, your goal is probably to become awake while you're asleep in the physical realm, meaning being a conscious creator of your own reality, which affects the whole. So if you do you, and I do me, and we do things for the better of us, we'll benefit each other. It sounds silly, but it's true. So, back again to the vision board. Dedicate time to your visions. Dedicate time to the work on the mental. If you want to create these things, it does not suffice to just exist during the day, go to sleep, and not be conscious on either plane. You have to become conscious on both planes, because they work together. If you meditate on your goals, on your visions, they will more likely become true. You can also exercise a mind palace visualization. You can organize these things in different rooms in your mind just to be organized. If you don't know where to start and how to get into a meditative state, I have recently made a video just for that. So it's a guided trance induction to get into the state and use your creative visualization and visualization menu. So feel free to watch that. And perhaps I'll make another video about how you can meditate on your sphere of availability and expanding it. Imagining your sphere of availability with the different spheres that you are in the mental plane, and how you can mentally place things in these spheres and also exercise bringing them closer to you. I hope this was useful. See you in the next video.
Alright folks, that's so much for today's stunner episode. Which track is your favorite? Please let us know by leaving a comment.